some 42 years ago, one Sunday evening, we were sitting upstairs in Gold Hill Baptist Church, Chalfont St Peter, Jim Graham being the pastor. And that night, a man named Len Moules was giving his testimony. Len had been a missionary, particularly in the northwest area of India and up in the Himalayas. And he had come back to this country to lead an organisation called WEC, Worldwide Evangelization Crusade. Quite hard to say that. Evangelization Crusade. He told in his testimony how in the early days on the quotes mission field, a senior missionary had visited and said to him early one morning as the sun was rising, "I want you to take a walk with me." And as they walked, Len was given a question. And the missionary asked him, "Len, what do you know of Galatians chapter 2, verse 20? And Len said this, "I was relieved because I knew Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. Let me read it for you. "I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me." And Len answered the senior missionary, and the missionary responded to Len, "Len, I didn't ask you, can you recite a Bible verse? I said, what do you know of Galatians chapter 2, verse 20? And Len said it was like a blow to the solar plexus, for I knew that God was speaking to me. And so today, I'd like to ask you, as I continually ask myself, what do I know of this experience? This is what Christians say. This is what the gospel preaches. This is what the church proclaims. I have been crucified with Christ. We have been looking at the resurrection of Jesus. But today we begin with his crucifixion. And 2,000 years ago on a cross, yes, that most cruel of deaths, yes, that most painful of deaths. But why did Jesus, fully God, fully man, go to the cross? And there are, of course, numbers of answers to this. But he went out of love, out of obedience to his Father, because he could see that you and I had a problem that would lead to eternal death if God himself didn't intervene. And so to some extent, it is true that Jesus is on the cross because I put him there. I have been crucified with Christ. This event that happened once in a particular place at a particular time is for all. And what is being offered, given there, still the good news of today is this, that my life, a life given me in the first place by God, through my natural parents, my life had become not only unmanageable, but in a place of complete rebellion to God, whereby I needed God himself to step in and give me not a better life, not a life with sticking plaster on it, not even just what we might call a new life, but his life. It is the great exchange the love of God in the gospel. I have been crucified with Christ, which means the old has gone. I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. That's his resurrection. It's his new life, his new power. It's not the old done up. It's a completely new nature. Now, does that mean from here on in we'll never sin? Well, no, obviously not. But our nature has been changed. The only way to this change of nature is through crucifixion. What do we know of that death? That we, like Paul in Galatians, like Len that night in Gold Hill Baptist, can explain that we know that Christ now lives in us. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith. I trust Jesus for this new life. Listen to this. The Son of God who loved me. He loved me. And he gave himself for me. So the gospel, this good news, is God has done everything necessary. But he's done it. Will I receive it? This is not a try harder, do more, be morally better. This is God's way of a complete new start and a new life through the cross in the power of his life.